Lord of the Mysteries. Chapter 1153. The Sunset Tunnel. Error bug. Is that the essence of the Marauder pathway? As he came to a realization, Klein also confirmed one thing. That was that the ancient sun god, the city of silver creator, Amon's father, really did come from Earth. The word that Amon said was standard English. Fellow Earthling, your two children have really caused me so much pain. If only they were all like Bernadette. As he lampooned inwardly, he asked curiously, "You want to use this dream world's loophole?" Klein controlled himself and didn't use the term bug to describe it, lest it would arouse suspicion in Amon due to his overly ordinary fluency when speaking the word. He would then reveal a trump card for no reason. Faced with a king of angels who could steal his thoughts and deeply parasitize him, he had very few trump cards to begin with. He had to make good use of every single one of them. Who knew when they might end up being effective? At that moment, Amon had already walked out of the black cloister. He had one hand in his pocket, and without doing anything, the heavy door opened automatically, as though it was welcoming the arrival of a distinguished guest. You can think of it that way, but in actual fact, it's a little more complicated than that. Amon didn't show the might of a blasphemer at all as he casually answered Klein's question. This dream world doesn't have any errors, or rather loopholes. It's just that, due to the clashing of remnant divine powers, some places appear more chaotic. And I can use this chaos to create a loophole. As the huge door that was prepared for the giant was completely opened, Amon pinched his monocle and walked into the hall, venturing deep inside. During this process, he smiled and gave a more in-depth explanation. You should know very well that this cloister is composed of dreams. Yes, it comes from the dreams of different living beings in the ruins of the Battle of the Gods. After some thought, Klein added, it might also be left behind by some dreams from the past. At that moment, the man and angel walked on a winding black staircase. The light of dusk shone through the stained glass from high above, bringing with it a feeling of burning holiness. Amon touched the human skull engraving on the railings and smiled as he took in the surroundings. Generally speaking, the area you enter this dream world is where you end up when waking up, regardless if you're in the dreams of other living beings in other seas. Unable to nod, Klein could only express his opinion with words. That's right. And after I create a loophole, I can wake up in the corresponding location by entering other dreams. Clearly, this cloister is much smaller than the sea ruins outside. The structure is even narrower. Perhaps we can reach our destination in a few minutes. There was a hint of joy in Amon's tone. To him, creating and exploiting loopholes was a joyous matter. Amon is actually able to use such a method to quickly pass through the ruins of the Battle of the Gods. We won't even be wasting an hour or two, much less 1 or 2 weeks. As expected of a king of angels, the blasphemer of the fourth epoch. The glimmer of hope that was generated in Klein vanished instantly. He wasn't sure if Amon had deliberately not mentioned it in advance, so as to enjoy watching the bubbles of his target's hope being popped time and time again. Or if he didn't care about such trivial matters. All he could do was to curb his heavy depression and say, You want to control the core dream of this illusory world? He remembered Queen Mystic Bernadette mentioning that she didn't dare enter the black wooden door in the deepest depths of the cloister. It's not me, it's us, Amon replied with a smile. He seemed to suddenly recall something. He raised his hand to adjust his monocle and asked with interest, Why did you put a monocle on your marionette? I didn't even need to prepare one myself. Feeling awkward for a second, Klein thought for a second and decided to answer truthfully. Not long ago, in order to digest the Bizarro Sorcerer potion, I deliberately wore this monocle in front of the Red Angel evil spirit. Amon, who was walking down the stairs, suddenly paused. He turned his head to look at Klein and smiled. Very interesting. This Angel of Time said thoughtfully. To think that Medici hasn't completely died. Next time, if I encounter him, I'll disguise myself to look like you, and then I'll wear a monocle in front of him again. Per Sauron Einhorn Medici. As a whole king of angels, can you not be so senseless? Is this the so-called God of mischief? When Klein heard that, he felt wistful, not knowing what to say. Amon pressed down on the crystal monocle and asked, "Did you wear this monocle on your left eye? How did you know?" Klein was shocked, imagining that Amon had stolen the scene from the fog of history. "How did I know?" Amon said with a smile. "There are two possibilities. Firstly, it's because you're of a beyonder of a low level, so you're definitely not a match for that fellow Medici. You were afraid that if your disguise was too realistic, then you would incur a fatal subconscious attack and deduced that you would be better of doing so. Secondly, if you had the intention of imitating me and ended up doing an accurate imitation, then I might be able to use the ripples generated by fate to detect the incident. Since I didn't notice it, it must mean that the monocle was worn on the wrong spot. Make a guess. Which possibility is it? I will choose the most dangerous possibility, regardless of whether it's true or not. This way, I will be even more careful and cautious in the future when it comes to matters like this. Of course, there must be a future first. Since Amon didn't show any signs of viciousness or oppression, Klein had unknowingly let down his guard and felt that Amon was an easygoing king of angels. But now, he suddenly snapped to attention as he came to a realization that this was a trait of a master swindler. The second possibility. Klein gave his answer. Amon didn't say if he was right. He reached the bottom of the stairs and came to the lowest level of the cloister. He stopped in front of a black wooden door covered in strange patterns. "I've been here before. Once this door is fully opened, the power inside will shatter the dream world in its entirety," Klein said as he attempted to extract more historical secrets from Amon. Amon reached out for the handle, his thin face impassive as he said, "This is my father's final dream. The corresponding location is where he perished. The ruins of the Battle of Gods was where Rose Redemption attacked the ancient sun god, the source of the cataclysm?" When Klein heard that, he tensed up as his thoughts raced. With regards to this answer, after understanding the formation of Rose Redemption, he had a corresponding theory regarding the various abnormalities in the ruins of the Battle of Gods. He wasn't too shocked now, and the scholar of your potion had even been digested to a certain degree. Immediately following that, he let out an indescribable sigh. This was the closest he had gotten to the ancient sun god. Previously, when he saw it through dream divination, they were separated by a distant stretch of both space and time. The ancient sun god and Emperor Roselle were the protagonists of an era, but in the end, they ended up miserable. The ending was tragic. Roselle still has the means of being revived. I wonder if this former creator had any similar setups. Dark Angel Sasser? The true creator? Amidst his thoughts, Amon opened the black wooden door covered in strange patterns. There was a sea inside, and the blinding sunlight shot straight at it. There seemed to be a rich gold color hidden in the waves. Klein didn't understand what the thick gold represented previously, but now he had a preliminary idea. It was the blood of the ancient sun god. Before he died, he was affected by the power of the Evernight and fell into a dream. He dreamed of his body being torn apart, staining the sea with blood. Clang! As the black wooden door opened, an unimaginable aura emanated out, causing the entire cloister to violently shake, as though it had encountered an earthquake that could destroy this world. Amidst the dust and collapsed stone bricks, the two of them entered the golden sea through the wooden door. Following that, he felt his spirit body melt as his psyche evaporated. In seconds, he would become fertilizer for the dream. At this moment, bright and pure white light shone out from Amon's crystal monocle, instantly shattering the dream world. He returned the day he had stolen to the ruins of the Battle of the Gods, allowing the place to turn from night to day. At the same time, his and Klein's figures turned somewhat transparent. Then, they appeared in midair above a sea that was dyed golden. The temperature here was higher than what Klein imagined, but it wasn't as dangerous as the dream. Or rather, the sea in the core region of the ruins of the Battle of the Gods was separated into safety zones due to various clashes of divine power. As long as one didn't blindly explore the area, then there wouldn't be too much of a problem. In the next second, Amon's monocle drew in all the light from his surroundings, making himself appear extremely bright. Day was stolen and night had fallen once again. After the two landed on an island in a safe zone, they once again entered the dream world. This time, they appeared outside the black wooden door covered with strange patterns. Amon adjusted his monocle, which he wore on his right eye, and pulled it with his left hand, stealing the distance between the entrance and the cloister. Both of them took a step forward at the same time, leaving the cloister and arriving at the edge of the cliff. Opposite them was the projection of the giant king's court that was frozen in the dusk. Klein originally thought that Amon would follow procedure and chant the corresponding honorific name, but to his surprise, he only raised his right hand and snapped his fingers. The clouds that separated the two mountains instantly boiled as they parted to the left and right, revealing an invisible dark rift at the bottom. The projection of the giant king's court on the opposite side suddenly sucked all the rays of light from the sunset over, letting them surge forward and fill up the deep crack. Hence, in between the two mountains, an orange-red light road appeared in the clouds. "Let's go!" Amon gave a low laugh as he leaped down the cliff. With the fluttering of his clothes, he landed on the passage formed by dusk. Unable to resist, Klein could only follow and jump down the cliff.